Who got next up? Who's got a question?
We've got Benjamin Hutton.
There we go. Benjamin, jump on up here. What's your biggest win from the last couple of weeks? And then tell us just a little bit about what's your business real quick.
So yeah, biggest win the last couple of weeks is I'm at about $500 a month in passive ad income.
Let's go. Give a hand there. We got some $500 a month in income. Well done, dude. That's awesome, man. That's a car payment.
Thanks.
You know that's good.
I started last year in the niche website space.
Yeah.
And I've
cool.
kind of horizontally just learned a ton about SEO because I think that's the best way to learn SEO is doing your own website. I target low competition keywords and rinse repeat.
I will say this though, real quick about SEO. You got to be really careful. I was talking to some really high level people last week. We were in a mastermind setting and we were talking about this, and AI is going to kill SEO. SEO is going to be, it may be a year, maybe 5 years, but I have a buddy who had a multi-million-dollar blog with SEO, and he basically his revenue has dropped insanely, like hundreds of thousands of dollars already, because you can go to ChatGPT and say, write me something that's, totally SEO friendly about this topic. And people are flooding the market with that crap. So what we really want to do is get you a product, get you something going monthly, get where you're serving people and you're talking to humans and they're paying you every month. So let's work on that, Benjamin. What's your question?
So I guess my kind of question is, how would you approach like a hyper niched kind of travel site? Because it's really about the Southeast. Because I live in Georgia. What are some ways to kind of expand that? I've heard about trying to create a digital product. As far as like kind of a locals guide.
What is the result of this for the person? Let me give you a couple examples, then we'll talk about your results. So whenever you come up with your idea, like the first step is always the idea. Like, well, I want to do a podcast about the Southeast and I want to build a business around this. Cool. What is the result for the listener? That you have to know that question. Like our result ultimately is we want people to go out and build an online business that can replace their income, right? And how do you do that? You get 100 people to pay you $50, or you get 100 people to pay you $100, or you get 200 people to pay you $50. We do it with the community membership model, right? That's the result that happens when you join our program. So you got to have that result too. So we have two people from our community. Their names escape me, but I do know what their businesses are. One lady was named Yolanda. It was years ago. She had a very niche travel website on helping people who had an affinity for Tibetan culture, right? And their ultimate goal was to travel to Tibet. So what she did was she created a membership, and the membership was all about Tibetan culture. So it was a gathering place of people who love Tibetan culture. They shared recipes. That was their unifying factor. Like they shared recipes from Tibetan food in this membership. So they would come together. She would cook a recipe like once a week in her membership on air, almost like a cooking show. And everyone would love that. But then her house was Buddhist and they had like Buddhist monks and stuff. And so it was like all Tibetan culture. And then there was the higher ticket strategy, right? We have our membership. She had X people paying $25 a month to be in the Tibetan membership. And then the ultimate thing was she was a travel agent, and she would make money, like an X percentage of people would come through her membership and they would pay her basically to plan their pilgrimage to Tibet to go and, see the Buddhist culture and all that stuff there. Okay. Now we've got another guy in the community, and his name totally escapes me. I cannot remember his name because we've had thousands of people come through this place. But his was hyper niche. It was the Outer Banks, which is in North Carolina. Is that right? I think that's in North Carolina. Yeah. So he had a thing where it was like a membership of people who traveled there all the time, and they just needed to know what was going on, an up to date kind of thing. But then I think he also his second tier strategy was to go around to the local places and sell advertising on his website. So his whole podcast, his whole thing, everything was about the Outer Banks, right? So
Interesting.
people traveling to the Outer Banks, going to the Outer Banks, they would go in and they would do that so they could be a part of that. So what we've got to figure out, you've got to figure out, we may not figure out right now, is what is the ultimate result for these people that are going to be following your brand? What do you think that
Yeah,
might be right now?
I think the ultimate result is that we have a ton of people moving to the community. The city's grown a lot. And so having, 20 plus years of knowledge of living in the community,
What
like
city?
Augusta, Georgia.
Oh, okay. That's where the
So
Masters is, isn't it?
yeah. And so that is really kind of what it's at because I don't know, you can kind of forget what you know having lived in a place for 20 years, where some
Yeah.
folks who
Yeah.
kind of filter in and out are not aware.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're brand new.
Yeah. I think what I would probably do in this particular case is you're probably going to do a free community strategy, right?
Hmm.
Because if people are moving in, or like I've seen this done a couple different ways, where you have like a free community that leads to money later, right? So you have you have a free thing that's got a lot of like videos and content that people can watch about especially if they're moving in, like how to move to Augusta, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? You could give away that content and then monetize it off the back end with something else, right? You could even do coaching. Like
Yeah.
that could possibly work. Like you could coach people who are moving into the area to get them up to speed. Like that could be something.
Hmm.
So imagine you have like a free Facebook group that's just people who love Augusta, Georgia, want to move there. You have a website that's everything that's going on in the town all the time. And then maybe you sell coaching to people who are
Yeah.
moving in, you know? This one might be a little too small for an actual membership, but I'm not saying it is. We need to probably think about that. That's probably going to take more time to talk about. You said the Southeast, though. Why so hyper focused on Augusta, Georgia? You could start with Augusta, Georgia, and then spread it out to the Southeast. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because the idea, I think hyper niche travel sites are doing well now because
Mhm.
it's a lot harder to replicate if you're not,
Yeah. Yeah.
in the
You are
area.
going
And
to
so
get the SEO on that for sure.
yeah, and
The search
so
traffic.
and it's been interesting because I outrank sites like Yelp and TripAdvisor with a domain that's got very low ranking, like authority. And so, but anyways, it's kind of the idea of anything within a couple hour drive is kind of fair game
Yeah.
to talk about
Yeah.
because we're 2 hours from the best beaches on the East Coast, so like
For sure,
Savannah,
man.
Charleston,
See,
Hilton
you could
Head.
probably start with Augusta, Georgia, and then you could expand to those other cities, and it would
Mhm.
be very similar to that. So that your money making opportunities are probably building a traffic, dominating the traffic. Anyone that comes to any of those cities comes to your site. You have a free community strategy because I'm stressing to everybody right now. AI is coming for us all. Like if you're
Yeah.
not building a human community strategy into everything you're doing with your online business in the next 5 years, you will not survive on content. Content is going to build relationship. It's not there necessarily to even instruct anymore. And curation of that content is going to be infinitely more valuable because content is a commodity now because Chat GPT can do anything we can do. So free community, build a huge thing around that and then monetize it off the back end. And maybe we can brainstorm that more like in the forums. Okay. So great question. Everybody give a hand to Benjamin. Ben, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate you, dude. Guys, the thing about our methodology that we're doing right now, in this business is it's all about humanity. It's all humans. You should be automating as much as you can on the marketing and sales side of your business. You should be scheduling emails. You should be doing all that stuff. And you should be using AI to help you write all your copy, all your content. You write the first draft and let it help you get better. Okay. 100%. You should do that. And everything starts at community. Everything starts at memberships. Free memberships are a thing, but you've got to build a community around the idea. That's what's going to work. And outside of your business, when you're marketing, when you're doing sales, of course, automate, batch, content explosion, all the things that we teach. But as soon as someone gives you money, it should become more community driven. It should become more mom and pop feeling, right? Because human connection is going to win. That's what's going to let people outlast everything in the next 5 years. People are sick of being behind computers. They're sick of being alone. They're sick of constantly being connected through text messages and all that stuff. People want face-to-face. People need people, like it says in the chat by Carrie Kitchen, right? So start even when you're doing something a little bit different on the monetization side. I don't care. I don't care if you make money with monthly memberships, coaching programs, whatever you do. It's all community. Everything is membership means community, and you need to be building it around that.